Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is soloing the Stalker with Dark Phantom, who has about 300,000 XP to go to get to level 37, at which point we will upgrade whatever SOs we have left, swap out some stuff for level 40 enhancements if we have them. We have a few. We're doing a story arc now for Steve Sheridan, and I've mentioned this before. Actually, I had a friend named Steve Sheridan. I wonder if the person who made this game knew him. We lived in New Jersey, and there was a town in New Jersey called Bricktown. Eventually, they changed the name to just Brick. And my mother used to laugh because she lived in Brick, and she said next door to them was a town named Wall. So where there's Brick and Wall. Um, it was Bricktown, and then it became Brick Space Township. So Brickstown always reminded me of that. When I mentioned it to my best friend, who, like me, grew up in New Jersey, he said supposedly some of the developers actually grew up in New Jersey and maybe knew the area, and I often wondered if one of them knew Steve Sheridan. It would be really cool if they did. Maybe it's just random. Sheridan's a common last name, Steve's a common first name, but yeah, he was a good friend of mine in like 5th, 6th grade. Lost touch with him through high school. He kind of wasn't in the same class as I was, and we kind of lost touch. He did play Dungeons and Dragons for a while, and actually tried in 8th grade. He 8th or ninth grade, ninth grade. He was going to run us through the Tomb of Horrors, and we played like one session, and then we never played anymore. And yeah, he did like a, what would they call, limited information campaign, where basically he rolled everything, both our rolls and his rolls, behind the screen, and like we didn't actually know anything. He kept our character sheets behind the screen, and so basically we were just supposed to be completely role-playing and not paying any attention to the stats. It was actually super cool. The one session we did, I loved it, but it was, there was, everybody wanted to play Tomb of Horrors because it had such a rep, and so there was like 9 people, and it was chaos. It was utter chaos, and he had to run all. I can't imagine as a GM how you would run 9 character sheets for player characters, and then run the villains like the bad guys. I have no idea how you would do that. Uh, okay, what do we got here? So we have a drone. I don't like that. I think I'm actually going to try to pull the drone. Now, some more of them besides the drone will come to me, but he's going to make me detected by everybody, and I'd rather not be, so try to get him this way. So anyway, so we're doing this mission for Steve Sheridan. As we go, I want to talk a little bit about just sort of how people... Oh, do we have a communications officer? Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about what we've discussed multiple times before. Basically, the idea that you can play a game like City of Heroes any way you want. There isn't a right or wrong way to play. And so I was watching this video where I guess it was a leader of a very big and very prominent supergroup on one of the other servers. I don't think it's this server. He claimed it was perhaps the biggest supergroup on any server, but I don't know if there's any way to know that. So I should have hit the Guardian first. He was just talking about, you know, how they interact with new players and get players on board, and they were talking about, you know, whether if you have enough money, it's worth actually slotting sets in the 20 to 30 range, like the low-level sets. And he said, well, you know, it only costs like 30 million for this one set, and as if that's not much, you know. I mean, I don't even have 30 million yet. But yeah, they were talking about whether the person who was interviewing him, he and that person were talking about whether it's, you know, worth just keeping SOs. And he said, look, and the leader of the supergroup said, look, if you're poor, if you don't have the influence for it, of course, you know, SOs are fine. But he, you know, and he said, but if you if you have enough money, if you have hundreds of millions of influence, because this is your third or fourth or fifth character, then he recommends to people to get sets as early as possible because you want to get those the set bonuses going. And one of the interesting things he said was he talked about standard slotting of attack powers, and this is interesting. He argued that standard slotting should be 2 accuracy, 3 damage, and an endurance. He didn't mention anything about recharge. And I thought, well, that sounds painful in the low levels because you don't have your full attack chain yet. But then I remembered, a lot of people when I was coming up, they did all of this as fast as possible first, and they only did their secondaries if they didn't have any primaries left to take. Now there were stages where originally, if you look at this came in at level 32. This would have come in, I think, on level, I want to say 26. This would have come in on like level 18, 16, etc., etc. These powers, these two would have been available at level 1. This probably level 4 or something. I know this one was 38, this one was 35, this one was 28. Right, so you couldn't even take these powers for the first 26 levels. So people sometimes didn't have a choice but to do that. But I guess if you do that, if you have all your primaries and those are your attacks, assuming that you're like a blaster or something, I guess the recharge rates, you don't need them. You don't need to bump the recharge rates as much. I always bump the recharge rates so that powers are available when I need them. So my standard slotting is always 1 accuracy, 1 recharge, 1 endurance, triple damage. And if I have to sacrifice something, I'm much more likely to sacrifice a slot of damage to get the double accuracy than to sacrifice a recharge. And I also, if you're going to say, well, you have to slot endurance, well, you could slot stamina, and then you don't have to worry quite as much about endurance. I don't know if people do that anymore. Like, I don't know what the standard is anymore. I do this character. I do everything with this character where I put the slots and everything. With all my characters, I do it the same way I did during live in the first 2-3 years of the game. Right? I have not changed anything to account for sets at all. Sets to me are a bonus, not a standard of the build. And in fact, if you look in the recipes at the thing, right, it says right there, set bonus. So to me, that's a bonus. It's not the minimum or what I expect to have. It's a bonus. So my guess is what they do is the recommended sets, and he named a few, and I don't remember which ones, probably have recharge enhancements, recharge speed built in to the set, right? Because some of them do. I don't know if either one of these do, but let's see. This one does not. This one, well, this endurance increases your maximum endurance, right? There you go at the bottom. Improves the recharge time of all your powers by 7.5%. By the way, you don't have to taunt to do that. Just having it in your powers can do that. So there are people who, if they want that bonus, might 6-slot taunt, which is something I would never do because they want that 6th bonus to get the recharge time up. And so I think there probably are people, and I'm sure he's probably one of them, who would have, say 5 or 6 different powers that have that 7% recharge rate, right? And if you have that on 5 powers, you're going to have like a plus 40% recharge. That's like having level 45 or 50 IO recharger on every single power. And he would probably say, what do you need the recharge for if you've got that? I would argue, of course, and if I have recharge enhancers on it, and the bonuses are like one of these, and this is like another one of these, or this one, then I'm recharging even faster. So, I don't know. I've always been a fan of speeding up the recharge of my powers. So, But anyway, it's just interesting how different people do different builds. The one guy pointed out, the interviewer pointed out, if you're talking about like at level 25, you don't even have your powers, a lot of them 6-slotted. So like, if I'm not gonna, even if I'm gonna eventually have 6 slots in taunt, I'm almost certainly not gonna have it there at level 26 because you don't have enough slots. You're slot poor, as I always say. Until now, we're finally, if you look at this character, we're gonna get more slots at 37. And finally, we have most of our powers about as slotted as they need to be. We probably don't need any more in Energy Drain. Eventually, I'd like more in Disrupt and Overload, but they're not priorities right now. This will be finished. Everything above Energize is finished, as far as I'm concerned. And if we wanted, we could finish Siphon Life, and that leaves us with really build-up's done. That really leaves us with just these 2 powers that aren't finished. Whereas if you go and look at us at like 10 levels ago, none of these powers are finished except the Assassin Strike, right? So he was saying, well, you're not going to be able to 6-slot things, and this one guy said, who leads this big supergroup, said, yeah, you won't be able to 6-slot things, but there are lots of defense, I guess the lower level defense sets where there's like, you only need 4 anyway to get the set bonus you want, so you could go ahead and do those. Again, that's true if your secondary is defense. It's not true if you're playing a blaster and your secondary is devices or something and not a defense power. And you might need to do things like 6-slot targeting drone or something like that. I don't even know if it's worth doing anymore, but it's possible. And so, yeah, I think it really depends on what you're trying to do with the character, right? So, for example, when I was doing my Dominator, I was constantly thinking about the difference between recharge rates and hold durations on his or her powers. I do. One was male, one was female. I showed you guys the male one, but the female one in live in City of Villains. And I was always playing around with, what do I want to do? Do I want longer hold durations, or do I want shorter recharge times, right? And what I ended up deciding was longer hold durations or immobilized durations. And the reason is, you could either, right, enhance for recharge and just re-up the hold, or you could enhance for hold and just do it once. And my feeling is that saves me endurance. Remember, I'm a damage per endurance kind of guy, and that's what I worry about. And so I feel like if you increase the durations, I don't have to throw it as much, which means I'm not going to use up as much endurance. And so I used to purposely go for the hold durations rather than the recharges. Wow, he can see me because of the darn drone. I hate the drones. I believe there was a lot of grumbling by the Stalkers about these guys. Because it's not just that the drones can... Let's just come over here. I'm bringing him in here because it's a lower ceiling. And he'll have to come within reach, and I won't have to, like, jump on him. What are you doing? I don't want to have to jump up to him. He's a pain. I believe that the Stalkers didn't like it because they were like, this stupid drone, which is the weakest, dumbest little thing the Rigby have, negates my entire... my entire power set. Well, it doesn't really. It just negates hide. But it does make it so that you can't do your assassination strikes and stuff. They're very annoying. But it basically just turns us into a poor man's scrapper, as it were. And not really a poor man's scrapper, because we're pretty good. And I remember Adele from my supergroup. I don't remember the numbers, but I do remember her arguing very effectively that Stalkers are actually better than, like, do more DPS over the long term than Scrappers do. That Scrappers have better burst damage than Stalkers have without hide. Right? Once the hide is over and you're punching and kicking and stuff, the Scrappers are going to outdamage you that way a little bit. But when you add up what Assassin Strike can do, both from hide and not hidden, that Stalkers will outdamage Scrappers. I still like Scrappers better, But I love Stalkers. Stalkers are awesome. So yeah, I mean, how do you guys enhance things? Do you do 2 accuracy, 1 endurance, 3 damage for every one of your attacks? I actually prefer having it variable like this. I have some attacks that are more geared toward accuracy and some that are more geared toward damage and recharge, and I actually feel like that gives me a lot of options, right? If I need the high accuracy attacks, I can focus on them. And if I don't need them, then I can go for the big damage stuff, right? Oh, these guys. You know, I never paid any attention to drones when I was a scrapper because they can't do anything to you. And I think as a stalker, I need to do the same thing, right? The drone can't do anything to me. It doesn't do enough damage to overwhelm my regeneration. Just your natural regen is faster than what the drones can do, so they're utterly pointless. It just reveals me to everybody else. But if it's going to do that, I may as well fight everybody else anyway. It's not like after I kill the drone, I'm going to suddenly go into hide again, right? I'm still visible. So I may as well just ignore the drones like I do as a scrapper. There was a guy under here, wasn't there? Yeah. So I got to get used to it. I haven't fought Rikti before with this character to any meaningful extent, and so I've got to get used to what they do to me and then figure out. Just like with the Nemesis, I got to figure. I had to figure out like which lieutenants do I need to hit first, which ones do I need to make sure I don't hit first, in order to avoid just the annoyance of their like retributive buff when they get knocked unconscious. There's another whole level. It's a little anticlimactic. Yeah, we're gonna do the Guardian first here, because oh no, I don't care about the Guardian because he has nobody to buff. So we'll just do this guy first. Stop walking around. Yeah, we're not going to worry about sets at all with this character again until we at least have the ATOs done, and that still requires another 511 reward merits. So it will be a while, right? If we think about it logically, I'm level 36. We can actually do a little bit of math here. We've earned. Now this is going to be a little bit inaccurate because the number of reward merits do increase as you level up, so it's not perfect. But we have 689, and we are 36th level, which means we're averaging about 20 a level. So you can figure out if we need 500 more, how many more levels that's going to take. Yeah, that's almost all the way to 50th. Now we're going to get more reward merits than that because the first few story arcs you only get like 5 or 10 reward merits, and these we're starting to get like 20 and 30. And I think you end up getting even more than that for the level 40 plus story arcs. They start getting like 35. So we will get quite a few. We were also, just because of leveling, right? We were only doing about 4 story arcs per level 5 level range because it was leveling us up, maybe even fewer. Now we can do like 2 story arcs per level. So that'll make it go. That'll make the there's a drone. That'll make the reward merits come in faster. Also, we haven't seen any. Oh, that drone's probably gonna see me. We haven't seen any lieutenants really here. Oh, Guardian. Should have hit him first. Yeah, pain in the neck. I ignore the drone. Just telling myself to ignore the drone. Gotta find the comm officer. I don't understand. If anybody can explain it to me, please do. I do not understand why the when the communication officer pops the portal and guys come through, I don't understand why they're purple cons. Because if you look at them, we can target one here. It's 39, right? That's the same level as the communications officer. So why is it purple? It's not harder. So I don't know. By the way, notice we just got swarmed. It is taking a while. That is a fair reality, right? It does take a while. But we're not in any danger. And the main reason it's taking a while is because these guys are all level 39, and we're missing a lot because that's what happens when you fight level +3s. Notice how the Richte drone is doing just absolutely nothing to me. But it just takes a while. So we're going to bias towards our more accurate attacks. We have a 64% chance to hit. It's not like we don't have any shot at all. But 22% with our more accurate, high accuracy attacks. That's insane. That it's that, his defense is that high. And that's what I was talking about with these. Now, some of it, obviously you have to add, instead of 22%, if he'd been even level to me, it would have been 49% to hit. But that still would mean that he had like a 50% defense. And that's what I meant by saying that, when I was saying that, oh, 2 Guardians. That's what I meant when I said that these guys, that when the developers made the game, they put too many mobs into the game, too many different types of mobs that are able to either buff defense or debuff your 2 hit, and that's why you get so many misstreaks. And they should instead have made the Richte drones have really high resistance or something, right? So you hit them a lot. It might take the same number of swings to beat them, but instead of missing 5 out of 8 times, you would hit all 8 times, and it would still take 8 shots to take them out, right? And it would be at least less frustrating and annoying as a player. You know, it's interesting, they detect you. I wonder if you can placate a drone. Let's find out. I mean, it's an interesting experiment. I guess I placated him. He's not shooting at me. Of course I missed him. Yeah. Click. Clue found. Click. Was there another glowy? I thought there was. No, somebody's talking. Drones? No drones. Headman and Headman Gunman, but no drones. Okay. Well, Headman... I think the Headmen are melee, and then the Headman Gunmen are ranged. Obviously, the Gunmen are ranged, but I think these guys have swords. Yeah, see, there you go. Those are cool swords. And notice those swords have these green edges on them. The green edges means they do a stun. They do a mez. Which I did not realize when I was playing my Scrapper back at the beginning in live, because by the time I was fighting Richte at this level, I had mez defense, just like this character has. And it basically prevented them from ever mezzing me. Now we're using a lot of endurance here, mostly because of all the misses. But also, because I didn't notice it. So I need to, when I get to the next group of them, I need to do a nice endurance suck and slurp up all that yummy end. Hard to do though when there's only 2 of them. But didn't somebody make a comment? Yeah, these 3. We'll take this guy out. Our endurance is back. You see how fast it comes back? That's stamina. I want him to come over here because I just don't want to get the guys downstairs involved. There we go. We have other sections here, though, so these guys probably won't be it. But they will give me some nice, juicy endurance after I take this guy out. Give me your endurance. Thank you. I love that this character, if I ever have endurance problems, I can just jump into a bunch of enemies and just say, gimme. And basically, you go full. If there's just even 2 guys, it'll fill me up. The other thing I used to say when people were like, oh, you gotta do sets, you should do sets earlier, etc. The other thing I used to say is why, right? Oh, well, you know, you'll be able to be better. Like, why? I'm fighting purples right now without sets. Just how more powerful does this character actually have to be? Oh, well, you could fight deeper purples. Like, so what? Like, at some point, what does it matter? Right? At least to me. If I was struggling, if this character still could only do white cons times 1, right? If I couldn't play this character the way I would like to play her, then it makes sense to look into sets. This character plays exactly the way I want to play her. +3s are a reasonable challenge. We're kicking butt and taking names. I'm going to grab some endurance from these little Rickety monkeys. And then beat them up, and this will probably end the mission. And we didn't face plant. We didn't come close to face planting. We're defeating purples and reds like they're yellows and whites from lower level. And so, yeah, I don't know exactly, like, just how much more powerful does this character need to be in order to be powerful enough? I don't know. I'm not, by the way, saying that anyone who wants to use sets is wrong. I'm just saying I find this character to be good enough. Right? This character plays in a way that I find very satisfying. Extremely satisfying. More satisfying than my Claws Regen Scrapper, who I found very satisfying. So, yeah, I don't really know why I would need... When we're cutting through purples and reds like a hot knife through butter, I really don't know why I would need to use sets. Would it help a little bit with the misstreaks? Probably. But it's fine. You know, we're fine. And there's a sense in which I don't want the game to be too easy. Right? If I had sets, oh, this guy. If I had sets, then what would I have to do? I'd have to put it on +4, +5, something like that, right? Like, well, that's just going to make me earn XP faster, which is going to get this character to level 50 faster, which I don't necessarily want to do. Like, I'm not turning XP off or anything the way I did with Silver Phoenix, but I'm in no rush to finish this character off. And let's see if the drone comes over here, because the main reason I want to do this is so that I go back under hide and fight the other guys, assuming there are no other drones over here. Alright, let's just put one of these on, see if it helps a little bit. Yeah, it gave us plus 5%. Not great, but okay. That's infantry. Isn't there anybody else here? Headman, there we go. And the infantry guy probably won't see me, so we can go back under hide and assassinate him too. So what you're now seeing with just basically yellow SOs for the most part and level 30 and 35 generic IOs, you're seeing a character, wow, look at all these recharge. You're seeing a character who can easily solo reds and purples. Right? There's really, like, I say easily, she can competently solo reds and purples. I'm not going to say it's easy. Certainly not, it's not like fighting whites, right, or yellows. But this is a character who already can comfortably and competently solo reds and purples. That's not a guardian, is it? No. Okay. And you're seeing that play out right here. This actually, if we could probably put this on +3 and we'd be okay for the +3s, obviously, just not the +4s. So I feel like this is a comfortable level for now. Once we get focused accuracy, maybe there at some point there'll be a reason to move it up to +3s. But I'm actually fine with +2 right now. I feel like this is a good level. Because we'd have to remember that, yes, I want a challenge, but also I am narrating and we are talking about stuff, and that does distract me, and it does reduce my competence with the game by a little bit. Not much, right? I feel like I'm 90% as good as I am when I'm 85% maybe as good. I'm operating at, 85% effectiveness when I'm chatting with you guys versus if I'm completely concentrating on the game. So I feel like this is a good level for that. If I were completely just quiet and paying only attention to the game, then I might be able to do +3s even now, but it would just be too much missing. Too many missed streaks. The +3s are fine. The +4s would be a trouble. And by the way, notice now I'm saying +3s are fine, but +4s are a problem. Whereas at level 32 and 3, I was saying +2s are fine, but +3s are a problem. That's what happens. That's the progression, right? At level 22, we were saying +0s are fine, but +1s are a problem, right? And then in the upper 20s, I say +1s are fine, but +2s are a problem. And now I'm saying, well, +3s would be fine, but +4s would be a problem. And that's how it goes. And that's why we need this difficulty slider. Because when the game first came out, there wasn't one, and you were stuck on +0s. Do you know how easy it would be? I would be bored. I think even +1 missions would be starting to bore me now. But these missions, yeah, I have to think about it a little bit. I have to figure out, who to attack first, which I don't have to do at +0, right? I could turn, at +0, I could turn hide off, just walk in and own every spawn. Even as a stalker, and certainly as a scrapper. But at +2, with like a quarter of the spawns to more being +3s, yeah, I have to actually pay attention to what I'm doing. Speaking of which, okay, we're 34 minutes, so we'll do this mission and then we will stop. Unless it's super short. 7 blood lots remaining. So one thing you can't easily do in Richty missions is you can't easily stalk them. It depends on whether there are a lot of drones, and that's just randomly spawned. If there are drones in the mission, you're not going to be able to stalk it, right? Because the drones will see you and reveal you, and you'll start getting attacked. Get over here. Richty monkeys. Pointless. There's some blood. Guardian first. So now, all right. If these guys are this high, right? If they end up, well, +2s, okay, +3s. One of the issues with +3s is that I can't do enough damage to the headman to take him out before the Guardian buffs him, and then you're sitting there whiffing the last 2 hit points of the guy, right? Because the Guardian buffed him. Alright, now I want to try to get these monkeys in my radius. There we go. Let's get some. Oh, so that Energize eats up a lot of endurance. That's part of the problem. Can't run. I just locked you down. Is that it for the Rickety Monkeys? Okay. So we have a fridge over here and 3 Guardians. Oh, these guys are annoying because they'll buff each other. Yep. Takes me down about 30 percentage points. You see this? I'm at 50, 60%. That's 4 or 5 misses in a row. That's ridiculous. Six blood samples left. Well, here's another one. 5 blood samples left. Oh, no wonder I'm having endurance problems. I forgot to switch. Yeah, I drive myself nuts when I watch my old videos back. Sometimes I'll go through a whole mission without realizing that I'm still on super jump. Yep, drone time. Anybody else around? No, okay, we'll just fight the drone. There's another drone. Infantry. Okay, well, we're just going to start a fight. Ha, drone, you missed me. So I was able to assassinate anyway. Ugh, communications officer, where is he? There. Okay. Alright. We're over aggroed here. I'm going to hit energy, overcharge. Or overload. Let's try to get everybody in the radius. One of the nice things about the Richti is they do tend to bunch up the conscripts. So you can hit them with that Shadow Maul and do some really nice damage with it. See? Both of them taking the damage. Man, the debuffs. Or the defense. So high. Yep. Look at that. 33% missed 3 in a row. 4 in a row. Alright. How did you see me? I wasn't hidden? Oh, because I clicked on the glowing. And the other thing I didn't do that I could have done was placate. How many people were yelling that into the screen? Placate them! We're going to take these guys. Then we're going to have to watch out because our overload only has about 45 seconds, under a minute left on it because it just rolled over to 8 minutes. Okay, dead in there. Oh, wow, okay. We have a lot more space to go. And this dead ends here. Alright, so I don't want to start, and this dead ends here, I don't want to start any fights now because we're probably going to get caught in the overload. So we're going to wait, turn this off. And, yep, we're overloading. Well, that's weird. It went down to 9 minutes, it went down to 8 minutes and that went up to 9 minutes. I wonder why. Oh, I can't do the other one yet. Hang on. There. You have to wait till the blue goes away. There we go. All right. But yeah, I've been very happy with the way this character's performed on these +2 missions. She's putting out good damage. Oh, you know what? I was dumb. I forgot to pull endurance from these guys. Ah. And of course, it takes a lot of endurance when you miss the assassin strike. And then you have to chew them all the way back down. But we should be alright when we find our next little group. Drones. Okay, well, since I don't have to worry about stealth, I'll just pull endurance from you guys. Wow. Look at all the misses. I'm inclined to ignore them. I could as a scrapper, but... Oh wow, that worked. I could ignore them as a scrapper. As a stalker you can't, because if it follows me around shooting at me, it's going to reveal me to everybody in the room. Click. 3 samples remaining. There we go. And then we're just going to pound this guy and... Oh, I can't believe I missed him with the build-up. How many times have I missed with build-up? Oh, he's ended up rolling a 99. It really does seem like it's rigged sometimes. 2 blood samples left. Come on. I'll tell you one thing I love about City of Heroes that is different from a lot of other MMOs. And a lot of other MMOs, if you're out of range and you try to do attack, it'll say out of range, but it won't queue it up. It just cancels it. I really love that COH leaves it, other than Assassin Strike, leaves it queued up. Another miss with Assassin Strike. Oh my gosh. It leaves it queued up and then you can walk into range, which I like. So at this point, with the Richty, we are having some minor endurance issues. It's not major, right? But minor, because we have to hit so much and we're missing the drones so much. We do have some minor endurance issues. Luckily, Energize takes care of that for us. Or not Energize, Energy Drain. Okay, monkeys. Let's Shadow Maul you. Oh, of course I missed one. Leave me alone. God, I can't stand the little one. The little guys, whether it's monkeys or gears or whatever, I just find them so annoying. Nope, there's a drone. There's another drone. Let's see if we can get an Assassin Strike on this guy before they see us. Another lieutenant. Okay, placate. And then assassinate. Let's see, do they have any resistance? Doesn't look like it. No resistance, just massively insane defense. So that makes me miss almost the entire attack chain. And then there's one more. One more refrigerator, not one more drone, although there is a drone here. Yep, Shadow Maul does the best because it's an AoE, and I guess they don't have AoE defense. This must be melee and range defense. Actually, I don't know. Is it range defense or just melee? I'm not sure. I don't remember. I think it is range defense. Okay, no enemies here, so we will exit out, guys. So I think that was a pretty good mission. We're doing pretty well. Some misstreaks here and there, but overall, I think this character is handling the +3s in the +2 missions quite well. And I'm pretty satisfied. And we're one beat away from level 37, guys. Next episode, we should get there. Any good salvage? No. Any good recipes? Nope. Huh, melee damage. Level 39. Okay, this is a potential. No. So why did I say no? Because there are only 5 in the set. So without even looking at the bonuses, I'd rather take... If I've got a 6-slotted power, I want a set that has 6. This only has 5. Fire and cold resistance and psionic resistance I really don't care about. We're trying to stack defense, not resistance. Resistance is nice, but I'd rather stack defense. Maximum endurance is nice. I don't need movement speed improved. I don't care. So this is not a set that we need. Let's take a look. I doubt any of this is worth anything on the auction house, but let's see. So, nope. 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 So none of that is worth anything on the auction house. We'll just sell it to the vendors, which I will do off screen, and I'm going to make some more enhancements because we're getting ready to hit level 37 and need our level 40 enhancements. And until next time, when we will be doing that, I am Scrapperlock, and this has been Soloing the Stalker on City of Heroes.